Asia. So I want to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So this episode it was really funny to me. I enjoyed it. If I had to give it like a score, I'd probably say maybe I would say 8.5, and I'll tell you why it's 8.5. This whole situation with Drew and Black and K Michelle is getting on my nerves, and I'm sick of it. And that is the only reason why I took points off. I laughed the entire time that the show was on. I even laughed at Drew, a couple points in the episode, but I'm just so sick and tired of it. But anyways, let's just get into the review. So it starts off again. They're on the bus, and all we hear is chili cheese Frito. Don't nobody want none of that. Don't nobody want to know none of that. Kelly, she's kind of going at Portia because Portia is adamant that that Kelly slept with a married man, and they're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Portia, she says like, "Oh, you definitely did want to sleep with me. You definitely was trying to get it with me." And Portia, she says like, "Can you imagine a mouse on a line?" Well, so Portia, she goes into her story on exactly why she's saying that Kelly, and I'm glad that they did ask her that. So basically, Portia is saying last year when they were leaving from Grenada, they were in Miami and they were in a hotel. Kelly and Shamia were in Portia's hotel. Portia was taking a whole bath in the sink. Where you just wash your PTA, pitch, sis, and ass. And she was like the Portia and I mean not Portia, but Shamia and Kelly were looking at Portia while they were probably just in the room, just like talking Kiki or whatever. And Portia says that while she's lifting her leg up, washing that cat. That Kelly says to Shamia like, "Ooh, I love to get some of that," or something like that. I'm gonna be honest. Do I think that it happened? That like that situation happened? Absolutely. Do I think that it happened like Portia said? No. I think that Portia either puts 20 on 10 or she genuinely believes the story that she tell because I don't think that Kelly was trying to sleep with you, mamas. I don't think that Kelly was trying to sleep with you. So anyways, Portia she says that after they leave her room, they go out and then when they coming back or whatever, Kelly, she's like, "Oh, girl, you wanna come to my room? You wanna watch TV or whatever? Or you wanna just hang out?" And Portia, she's like, no, no, bye, bye, bye." Like, like, girl, that ain't happening. She's like pushing her out of the elevator or whatever. Um, I honestly think that Portia might have misconstrued it just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they were drunk. Portia, she be getting gay when she get drunk. One of you bitches gonna eat my pussy tonight. So it's just like, maybe that's the vibe that you give off. You give off, I get gay when I get drunk. Okay. And that's okay because I think Portia is probably bisexual, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. But um, I don't know that she had to air Kelly out like that because I don't honestly think that that's what it was. But anyways, so Portia, she goes off on Kelly, like she puts that to bed for a second, but she's like, you were Kelly, she calls Portia big and goofy, and she was like, I would never sleep with a woman. Like, I like men, but I would never sleep with her. She big and goofy. And Portia, she says to Kelly, in on like on the bus, not even in her confessional, she's like, that man, he never gave you a dime. And I'm like, and that's the real crime, ain't it? The fact that that man didn't give her no money. That's what you really took away from that situation. That this man did not provide her with any change for her services. And I'm not calling Portia a 304, and I'm not saying that she give it out for money, but I am saying that Portia is definitely gonna try and get some in return, and that's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, so they keep saying like, oh, you can shove those flowers up your butt, and you can do this and whatever, and Kelly, she's like, oh, you needed a rose or something like that, because they're talking about flowers, and then Phaedra with her lost ass, she says, you know, these people, they not even be using the roses like they used to, the vibrating toy. And so they start talking about that. And honestly, as annoying as Phaedra is, because she never talks in the scene, she only talks in confessional. I will say I did like that a little bit because I'm like, they just, from arguing and like the other girls being like, oh, okay, yeah, I can go ahead and stop now, to like genuinely laughing and everybody talking about like how long they last with a rose. I think Cynthia said she lasts like 30 seconds and Pinky was like, it take me a minute. I mean, I last a minute, only a minute. Them things are a little powerful, so I definitely get that. But so the the convo changes. Everybody's being fun and light and they laughing. Okay, Michelle, she's like, I'm kind of lost. Like, is everything okay now? Like, she genuinely looks confused. Like, what's going on? To K Michelle's credit, I will say She's seen this behavior before with Portia, where it's like we walk in, we good, then you attack me, and then we move the conversation on to something else. And that's not what a real friend is. Like in real life, that's not what a real friend is. So I understand her being like that, but I also think that she has to realize this is a TV show. This isn't fake. This isn't like just for, look, this is an actual TV show. So the girls gonna have to get in a conflict and move on. Even if they don't fully move on and move past it, they're gonna have to do that. Um, because otherwise they're gonna seem like they're harping on stuff, and you don't want to seem like that. But I do get K Michelle, but I also need her to like get with the program just a little bit, because that situation had nothing to do with her. She was there for the conception of the issue, but she could have just like, okay, girl, this is crazy. Anyway, so they, move on from that with K Michelle. They start taking shots. They throwing them bitches back, throwing them. Pinky, they made sure to look at Pinky because when Pinky was getting off that bus, her and that damn power suit were leaning over to the left. They were leaning. They were about to fall over and pass out. She was like, "Oh, I got to pee so bad. Where am I going now? Where am I going?" Somebody had to help her to the bathroom. Like she was drunk, like drunk boots. Um, Honestly, I think that they all were. But she goes to the bathroom. They get into the restaurant. And Cynthia's like, "Oh, okay, sit wherever you want. Order wherever you want." And I'm like, I'm so glad that she didn't do that assigned seats bull crap. But when she said order out whatever you want, I'm like, must be on Bravo's dime and not Cynthia's. When I tell you Cynthia always keeps a job, it's Cynthia keep a job. What's her last name? Bailey. Um, like Cynthia's the brokest bitch on the cast. I love Cynthia, but I'm just saying, like, girl, she will never be without a job because she would never be without a bill. Um, but they were taking shots on the bus, and then they get down. They start sitting down, and they always actually like what you want to drink first, and they all are ordering like, "Oh, I want a margarita. Oh, I want, this or that." And I'm like, "Damn, I thought them shots." Like y'all were drinking straight tequila. There was nothing in there. Y'all probably didn't even have no chasers. Crazy work. Um, so Pinky is in the bathroom. She praying to her porcelain god. She's like, please, oh my God, please, please. And I just like her stomach is just set up different, because she first of all, she's in Texas. It's a lot of meat eaters out there. They don't really cater to like a vegan crowd mostly. So and plus they were in like a rural area where they had to drive 3 hours or an hour to get anywhere. So I'm sure that they didn't have a lot of vegan options for her. So um I'm sure that, she just really, really didn't have nothing on her stomach and all that drinking and stuff just oh my God. But it's not a good look, girl. You should have been sneaking you a piece of bread or something. Like a little roll. But it happens to the best of us. So the girls, they just having a good old time talking about the gala and everything, and Pinky is just going through. Cynthia, she's saying like, oh, yeah, Mike is gonna come, Portia's fake boyfriend, and then what's his name? Pinky's husband is gonna come, and then K Michelle's husband is gonna come. I don't know why they came. Maybe they just want to see their wives because it was their first time going out, and Portia, she just wanted to add her little fake side piece to the mix. Not even her side piece, her fake hired man, her employee. So, anyways, Cynthia's talking about oh yeah, and we're gonna have like a little beauty contest where everybody gets dressed up, and I just want to see who looks the best. And I'm just like, girl, you didn't learn from Ultimate Girls Trip when Kyle Richards told your ass don't stop doing that. That is unladylike for you to be putting these women against each other for like who is the prettiest, who is this, who is that. Cynthia, hang it up. You too old. You are like 87 years old at this point. I need you to stop. I love Cynthia. I love Cynthia. Don't get it wrong. But seriously, Cynthia, like it was just a little childish. For my taste, anyways. But Cynthia, she's like, damn, Pete can be gone for like 23 minutes, and I just hear a lot of grunting and throwing up in the bathroom that's right next to us. So why don't I go check on my girl? Pinky is just like, I need something. I don't know what I need. But no, Cynthia, she was just like, okay, you need some ginger ale, you need some bread. Pinky's like, yes, all of it. Bring it to me. Bring me a wet wipe. Bring me something so I can wipe off my damn power suit. So Cynthia, she tells her like, you never know who you gonna need. You been giving me hell on this trip. You been giving me hell, and now you need me. And I do understand what Cynthia's saying, but also, That's how Pinky felt in that moment. Just like when people say stuff like that, oh, don't treat people like that because you never know who you're gonna need. I treat people how I want to treat people. If it calls for it in that moment, then absolutely, like I don't know that Pinky was necessarily right, but that's how she felt, in that moment. And her moment of need now shouldn't reflect that. Anyway, it was just like a little comment she made. But anyways, I'm like, Cynthia, your slip is showing. But so we get back to the girl, Cynthia, she's just telling them like, hey, Pinky, she's really like she didn't have nothing on her stomach, she hadn't been really eating, so that's why she's, throwing up in the bathroom. And Phaedra's like, okay, well, we should just probably go ahead and go since she's not feeling well. And Cynthia's like, no, dog, we'll have to let her stew in there for a little bit because it's gonna take us 4 hours to get back home, back to the place where we're staying. She's gonna be her stomach gonna be bubbling. She gonna have to throw up. It's gonna go out the back. She gonna be sweating. She's sick. She needs to stay in that bathroom for as long as she needs to stay in there with her power suit. Hopefully that'll heal her. But so Pinky, she's just going through in there, and for some reason, Portia decides to grab Cynthia's oysters that she ordered before she left, and she's like, "Oh, let me check them for you. Let me check them for you." And she was like, "Yep, that vagina is clean." And she gives them back. So Drew looks at her and she's like, "What?" She makes a face. I don't know if the face is like what, but she makes a face because it is a weird joke to make. And then K Michelle looks pissed off. And in her confessional, Angela's like, "Do you just always check oysters? Like, what are you doing? What is this for?" It was very unnecessary, and like everybody was confused, including me. I was confused. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? You checking oysters? Girl, they check that in the bag. If you eat at a place and you don't feel like the seafood, the raw seafood that you're about to consume is safe, and you have to check it with your air brain head ass, then you don't need to be eating there. You don't need to be eating there. So it's clear that she was joking. Like it was clear she was doing something, but we don't know what it is yet. But K Michelle looked pissed. So Angela, she's just confused, like everybody else. Pinky, she comes out of the stall, and when I tell you that Pinky comes out of that stall, her damn pantsuit on her right leg, on her left leg is up. I think her arms they like pushed up a little bit because she had to get to work in there. Like she just looks drained. I felt exactly how Pinky looked in that moment, where you just everything inside of you done came out and you just done. Like physically you drained. So we get back to the table. I hate that for her. Like I genuinely hate that for her, but I felt like that before. I can smell it. Like and it's just like one of those things where it's like when you get into that point. But honestly, when you ain't had nothing to eat, you arguing with girls, you like, look, I gotta take me a couple shots to be around these people. I get it. I'm not judging her, but I'm just saying, being on the show, girl, don't get that drunk again no more. Especially around people that you don't know and that you really don't like. But so Shamia, she asks K Michelle back at the table like how she's doing, and K Michelle says she doesn't feel safe. I do understand it. Like I said earlier, like Portia going at it with Kelly like that. You supposed to be my friend. I'm seeing how you move. I don't feel safe. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting to know Shamia and Kelly, but I don't know them. Like Portia was supposed to be the girl that I knew. I don't feel safe around everybody. It is what it is. So she kind of looks at Portia when she says that. And that is something I noticed on this episode when K Michelle doesn't want to say what she's trying to think, or what she doesn't say what she's thinking exactly. Her eyes and her head movements, they will tell you. And she looked directly at Portia. And it was kind of obvious. I think that Portia knew what it was, because either Portia was guilty or she just knew, like, I feel like this girl is coming for me because she's been on the show for, like, I don't even know how many years. So like, I feel like this girl is coming for me. But, it kind of is what it is. But K Michelle is like, y'all beat the hell out of each other. Like, y'all are not good friends to each other. Like, I don't know what this is. And I get it. Like, y'all do scheme and do stuff all behind each other back, and then y'all try and, like, laugh about vibrators and toys and stuff. And it's just like, you were literally just saying that this woman wanted to sleep with you. You were saying that she was a hoe and that she was sleeping with a married man, and she was saying you was sleeping with a married man because you was sleeping with R. Kelly. So it's like, how do we get from there to laughing and giggling? But also, this is a TV show. Like, girl, you got to get with it. I don't know what her problem is, but if she don't buck up, I need her to get out the show. If I'm being completely honest. So, anyways, Portia just kind of hijacks the conversation, and she's just like, "Yeah, I didn't like what I was doing when it came to Kelly. Like, she said, I don't want to talk about your business opening and closing and opening and closing. See, because if Kelly would have talked about your legs opening and closing and opening and closing, and would have just started naming off the men, you know what I mean? Like, even in that moment, I think that she was kind of being a little bit shady, but just kind of saying it like as sincere as she could. It was whack. But they do get on a good page. They're just like, you know what? We just gonna agree to disagree. It is what it is, and I get that. But Portia was being shady while she was apologizing. And then Shamia, while Portia was talking, she just kind of made this face like, because she knew what she was doing. She was like, "Girl, I see you, I see you." And then while Portia's talking, Drew, she definitely made me giggle because she was like, she made this like, introspective face of just like, like I'm just, oh my god, like, girl, wow, yeah, oh wow, like wow. She be saying wow, and that just made me giggle because like you can tell that Drew clearly sees through the bull crap. But if you didn't watch Drew for however many seasons, like you would really think that she was just being like, like she was. Oh my god, I understand Portia. She didn't understand. Portia was saying she slick don't like Portia still, and I get it. But Portia and Kelly, they're like, okay, we gonna be good for right now. Drew, she decides to ask K Michelle a question about how, like, why did she feel a certain way? Because this is what K Michelle said a little bit earlier, and K Michelle, she admits like to being standoffish when it comes to Drew because of the black situation. And my thought is, why do we keep bringing this up? K Michelle, if you're saying like I'm a married woman, I don't want this man to be tied to me, and I'm married, like this is not a good look. Why do you keep bringing him up? Why do we keep bringing him up? Why is he being brought up? I'm so sick of it. I would be more annoyed at what's that girl name? Drew, if she was the one bringing it up. It's you, K Michelle. You don't want to be tied to him, but every single time that you open your mouth, when you do open your mouth, because it's not a lie, you talking about black. What is that? What is that? I don't get it. I ask you. Um, and then also it's like, so Black, because it comes out, that's what this is what K Michelle tells him. I mean tells Drew. Black was in K Michelle's DMs, and he even admitted it later on in the episode. He was in her DMs. It didn't go anywhere. It was just pleasantries and friendliness. So I don't understand why. And like, so he wasn't ever dating K Michelle. There was no option for him to ever date K Michelle. And then what is it called? um Drew says, like, I mean, Drew has been saying this whole time that he is not dating her, like that they're not dating. She did say something about marriage or something, but it's just like this is neither one of y'all's man at this point. Like, why? What is the issue? And Drew even says like, oh, he's single. He's single, and she's like, it doesn't bother her. What you mean it don't bother you? You talking about marriage with this man? You talking about all this stuff? Like you just blowing smoke up our ass, and I don't like that, Drew. Like, can you please stop? Stop with the bull crap. Okay, either you want this man or you don't want this man. Either I don't know. She's just lying. She's just lying. And I'm gonna stop doing this thing where she's like, oh, let me just try play devil's advocate. No, this bitch is lying. I'm getting sick of it. I'm so sick of her and Black. But anyways. I'm sick of watching it. It's just boring. It's the same thing over and over again. It's just like this will they, won't they about something I genuinely do not care about. You know? So, K Michelle basically says in her commercial, in her talking head that Drew is trying to connect her jump off Black with K Michelle, basically saying like, Drew is trying to connect him with me so that he can get a jump off on his career, so he can get like bookings and stuff like, oh, I know K Michelle, and she's like, I'm not trying to let that happen. I don't know this man, and then Drew, she's just like, I really don't care about the whole DM situation. Phaedra, she's saying in her confessional, she only talks on confessionals. She only talks on confessionals, and it did kind of make me laugh. She said, he looked like he'll just choke you out. He'll bite you with the big teeth. And I'm like, you know what? You absolutely are right, because that nigga got some big ass chompers. It look like he got bite the apple, just bite the apple. But so Shamia on the side, she's kind of saying like stuff about Drew to K Michelle, and she's saying like, because Drew is like, oh, I just can't give him like my time or something like that, where she's just like, I don't have the time for him, and Shamia was like, "Oh, it only takes 5 minutes to make a man happy." She don't have time to make him happy or something. She's like, "It only takes 5 minutes to make a man happy." Girl, Gerald, girl, 36. Okay. But and she said, like you said that you don't care about him in the text. This is what she is saying to K Michelle. Like you saying that you don't care about him in the DMs, but you've been on FaceTime with him for like 30 minutes or whatever, 3 hours or whatever. Like you just doing all this stuff. This is not what she said. This is me saying this. Like you on FaceTime with him for like 3 hours. You doing all this stuff with him. You said that you want to get married to him, but then you saying like he's single and you don't care. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, Drew. What I will say is, Shamia might have been a little drunk. Shamia might have been, trying to start something up with Drew. But I will say that Shamia was not lying, and I appreciate that on Shamia because she clocked that for what it was. K Michelle, she's like, she's telling what's her name, Shamia to stop. She's like, stop, and she sounds like she's like a little annoyed about it. So let me just drink a little bit of water so I can coat my throat. This is my problem with K Michelle. K Michelle, I do understand like if she genuinely wanted to end her issue with Drew, but my issue is that you don't actually have an issue with Drew. You don't have an issue with Drew. Your issue with Drew has been stated numerous times in the confessionals, your talking head, but never with Drew. So I can understand Drew's confusion and like just not understanding. I honestly don't understand what her issue is. So I feel like K Michelle is trying to play the Bravo game of issue and then make up, and then issue and then make up. And when Shamia was talking, she didn't actually have a chance to make up with Drew in that moment. So the stuff just kind of kept lingering. But it didn't feel authentic. I will say it did not feel authentic, and I just don't understand why K Michelle just can't come in and be herself. Girl, if you ain't got no issue with nobody, you ain't got no issue with nobody. Go in there, flow through, be your fun, authentic self, and just look at the bull crap. Um, I feel like that's kind of my issue with K Michelle right now is that she's trying to be a Bravo housewife instead of just being a Bravo. Yeah, just being herself on this Bravo Real Housewives show. And I don't know that I like that. So, anyways, they start leaving. Kelly, she's like, "Look, I'm gonna take this champagne because I don't want to waste any." I'm like, "Girl, they drunk as a skunk." I think that that's half the problem. They drunk. They giving Zeus energy. They giving, they eat nothing but knuckle sandwiches and liquor. Okay. Um, so K Michelle, she was like K Michelle and Shamia, they kind of held back a little bit. And K Michelle, she was saying like, Shamia was being shady, and she will never make up with Drew if she doesn't stop being shady. And Shamia is just like, well, you know what? I don't give a damn. Drew keeps coming at me, I'm gonna come at Drew. And then we hear Drew say like, oh my gosh, like Shamia was saying like little stuff to K Michelle being shady and stuff. So she definitely caught what she was doing, but Shamia is really just frustrated, which I can definitely understand with Drew and Angela. And this is gonna come up in the episode later. So just to go back, last season, Angela said, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna pull my tea. I'm gonna pull your tea." She knew that Shamia and Portia, probably from watching the show, that they are best friends, but they had problems. So she started poking little, holes in the issue. You know what I mean? And she brought it to Shamia, and she brought it to Portia, and she started it, and then she kind of did hands off. I don't think that their issues are necessarily and like them the minds of their friendship at the very end or like what it is right now is caused to Angela. Overall, though, is not Angela because they had issues way before they even knew who Angela Oakley was. So you can't put that on her. But I will say that I can't like I can see why Shamia is saying like y'all were the cause of my friendship falling apart and now y'all keep doing stuff to like kind of cement it and like just really push it in my face. But I will say that they will keep on doing it because it makes you mad. Once you stop getting irritated by it, then they will stop doing it. Kind of like when Kenya was kept saying stuff about Portia and Bolo and Tanya, and then at that dinner she was like, you know what? I had my legs spread wide as this table. Ooh, it was so good. Candy girl, you want some? Candy was like, ooh, it looks so good. And she was like, now what? Now what, bitch? And it's just like a bully only has fun when they see that you getting pissed off. When you stop getting pissed off, they will stop having fun. And I hate to call my girl Angela a bully, and I hate to say that about Drew too, because Drew always seems like the underdog, even though she is kind of a B word. But I'm trying to stop cursing. But they were being bullies in that situation. I'm so sorry, but they absolutely were. And they were picking and poking and doing stuff to Shamia. And I hate that for her. But also, Shamia, you're a grown ass woman. And if you want something to stop bothering you, then stop letting it bother you. You know what I mean? If you know that your issue with them bothers you, then, you know. But they're gonna keep on doing it because they know it pisses you off. That just is what it is. So, anyways, the next scene is them getting up. They're going to breakfast. They're getting ready and stuff for breakfast with their fam. I mean, they talking to their families. Pinky come down, and she actually looks good today. She got them sunglasses on 'cause she probably got dark spots under her eyes. And when I tell you that Pinky was drunk boobs last night, she had her power suit, her pretty pink power suit on. Okay, Barbie pink. And she laid in her bed and she was like, "Yeah, well, I was dehydrated, you know. I know that you were feeling very sick. But I would say this morning she looks really good. Look like they put some makeup on her. She looks really good. She was saying Cynthia was checking up on her, and I'm like, Cynthia is a really good friend. So, we started talking about, well, not we, but they started talking about, K Michelle, and they're like, hey, where's K Michelle at? K Michelle, where are you? This is the, group eating or outing or whatever eating situation where you're not there again. And so Phaedra is like, you know what, I'm gonna go and get K Michelle. So she goes upstairs, she comes back down, and Cynthia is talking about how to help Pinky with her throat. She's like, "Oh yeah, you just put some honey in your mouth. You let it drip down. You let it drip down." And they like, "Girl, Cynthia, you is a nasty ass freak. You is a nasty freak." Um, so finally, K Michelle, she comes down and she looks like she's like irritated or like she just doesn't want to be there. And they're saying like, K Michelle, like, like what's the issue? Like what's going on? And Angela, she says like, you said that she didn't feel safe. Like, is that true? And K Michelle, she did try and hold it in, but she starts crying. And having an emotional moment is definitely fine. But my issue with her having an emotional moment in this scene was that she just never told them what the issue is. You can have an emotional moment, and I'm not saying you gotta lash out at somebody, but girl, tell us what the problem is. That's what Portia was saying. Like, girl, you crying and you upset and you alluding to stuff, but tell us what the issue is. So basically, she feels that the whole black situation and also a rumor from like 8 years ago about a man that she used to date saying that her coochie stunk, and it smelled like sardines. She was saying like the girls were trying to bring that up. So when Portia said, earlier when they were at dinner the night before, oh, you smell like, or got to make sure that the vagina is clean. Talking about the oyster, she felt like it was attacking her because also apparently, there was some kind of like somebody from like a blog called her or something saying that like it was a plot against her and stuff like that. It's plots and schemes and shit. And oh my god, but so she thinks that Phaedra, Portia, and Drew are all coming at her. That's why she keeps coming at Drew. Um, do I believe it? Yes and no. Do I believe that Phaedra and Portia are trying to get something on the show to come at her? Because Phaedra is mad that they said that she eats dead people and they were trying to mess with her business. And Portia is she was good friends with Portia. Then she started calling her out. They had that little sit down. She just, there's tension between them. So I do think that Portia could have did something like that. I always feel like Drew was innocent and a lot of stuff, but I don't know. But anyway, so in this scene, K Michelle is just like alluding to that whole situation. She never tells them. That's what I will mention. She never told them. But K Michelle is just kind of like looking over at Drew, and she's like, whoever it was, and whoever it was who did this to me, who plotted, who schemed, who snickered-knackered, who went behind my back, F you and all your family and the rest of your life, F you. My girl, she got this damn monologue and she crying and shit and I'm just like, girl, shut up. Shut up. What Monique said, say their name, leave it in the playground, keep it in the playground. Girl, you need to say their names. It's really irritating me that she always has something to say in a confessional, just like Phaedra. Or she always, and this Phaedra lady, she never talked, and neither do you. You have an issue, you have something to bring up, then say it. Somebody said this, somebody said that. Like, girl, just say it. It's irritating. It's irritating me really bad. But I just didn't understand like why. I don't know. I just didn't understand that. I really didn't. So anyways, in this scene, Angela, for whatever reason, looks over at Portia, I mean at Shamia, and she says, "You know what, Shamia? I got a problem with your face." But no, Shamia, she said Shamia had made like a face or something, and she felt like Shamia had new information, which Shamia, she knew generally about about the situation. So, ooh, let me drink some more water. So, K Michelle told Kelly and Shamia about the whole situation. She was like, "Hey, I feel like the whole situation with Black, and then also the situation about what this guy said about me 8 years ago that I used to date. Some of the girls in the group are saying this. She never put a name on it. She never told them, so they knew about it and they knew why she was upset, but they never knew specifics. Which the way that K Michelle is being right now, maybe she just didn't know who to trust. Maybe she was just kind of checking their temperature, like, and then they said this. Do you know about that? Do you know about that? And they were like, girl, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. You actually seem kind of unhinged right now. Are you okay? Do we need a medic? Okay. But Angela starts coming at Shami and she's like, I feel like you a slake, a slimy bitch, and I can't trust you. When I say she was coming at Shamia hard, she was coming at Shamia hard. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So then Shamia turns around, cocks her neck, and starts going at Drew. I said, what the hell is going on? I don't even remember. It was like something about Black and like that whole situation and how but it was crazy. So Drew actually was like, Shamia, you making this whole situation about you. I'm just trying to see why this girl I'm trying to get to know is crying. It was a whole thing, but I don't feel like getting into it. That whole Black thing, it befuddles me. So, anyways, Portia's like, I really feel bad. You came into this group, you're my friend. If you have an issue, just let me hold it. Like, don't just take care of this by yourself. I will say, K Michelle, don't trust that bitch. But yeah, she was just trying to be a friend in that moment, quote unquote. So they all kind of like disperse because this conversation is like really just going nowhere. So they all kind of like disperse. Angela, she just kind of goes back at it with Drew for Shamia for a little bit, and then so Shamia, Kelly, Pinky, and all these damn names. Shamia, Kelly, Pinky, and K Michelle, they're outside, and K Michelle, she does get more specifics to Pinky because the other girls already knew. And she tells them specifically that I believe that it was Drew, I believe that it was Phaedra, I believe that it was Drew, Phaedra, and Portia. And I believe that they intentionally tried to, fuck with me. And so they're like, wow, really? That's crazy. It is what it is. So she's just like, oh my gosh, I'll cuss their ass out and I'll do this and I'll do that. And I'm like, you should have did it in that scene. If you have that energy, you should have did it in that scene. I don't understand why you didn't. So Portia, Phaedra, and so Portia, Phaedra, Drew, Angela, and Cynthia, they go in the room, and Cynthia, I mean, not Cynthia was there, but she was barely there. I think that Cynthia probably took a nap. She was like, "I'm done with these bitch. I'm so ready to go to this gala and go home. I want them out of this house immediately." So, they're all talking, and they're just like, "Whoa, like what happened?" Like, she was like plotting and scheming, and like, What are we doing? What are we doing?" But I knew that it was a scheme in this moment because when they all had their phones and they're like, let's pull up the tweets to see if anybody else has said something. Let's pull up the tweets. So this is what K Michelle said apparently 3 hours ago as of like them filming. If it takes a group, a plot, a rumor, or a scheme to bring me down when I am already coming in love, you already lost in the game and lost in life. And I'm just like, I get what she's saying, but also put a name on it. I'm so sick of these like maybe this, maybe that. Girl, put a name on it. You're a grown adult woman. Put a name on it. I'm so sorry. Put a name on it. But they're just talking about it and like the way that they went about it was just very shady, and it just definitely gave that y'all came up with this. What I think happened was freaking frack. Whack ass went over to Angela because Angela's been wanting to team up with them, and Angela she rides with Drew. So Drew came, even though Drew don't really like Portia, and they kind of like made this scheme up. You know what I mean? To lie about it. I honestly think that did happen. I don't put it. I don't put it past them. I don't put nothing to get past freaking frack dungeon bull crap that they pulled with Candy. You know. So I don't put nothing against them. But anyway, so after that, they all start getting ready. Shamia go. There's mind you, they're supposed to be getting ready for gala. They don't have that much time because it takes them forever in 2 days. Shamia goes and puts on a royal blue bikini. She was itsy bitsy skinny winny teeny winny yellow polka dot bikini. Na, da, 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 da. She wore the tiniest bikini that she could find, stuck it right up her ass, and power walked. Mm. Walk with your puss. Mm. She walked over to the other house because she was telling Kelly when they were in the poor house that they're staying in, I'm so sick of this. They not finna put this on me. Whatever they're trying to do, this was not my fault. I know that this is a scheme. I know this is a plot. I'm not doing this. And she walked over there and she was like, "Hey, I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what the problem is, but I had nothing to do with whatever K Michelle has going on, and I'm letting y'all know this now. So don't try and make it seem like I did." So she called like a house meeting. She called it, well, that's what she was saying to Kelly. I got a little bit ahead of myself. So that's what she was saying to Kelly. Then they walk over to the big house, and then she called the house meeting, and she basically just says that. And what forgot to mention earlier was K Michelle was really pissing me off in the way that she was kind of letting Angela attack Shamia a little bit. Not even a little bit. Angela was attacking Shamia. Angela was coming for Shamia very hard, very heavy for no freaking reason over something that she didn't even know about. She got confided in by K Michelle. That was K Michelle's chance to say, "Hold on, y'all. Don't be, hold on now." But she just kind of sat there, and I'm just like, "Girl, what you got going on, babe? What you got going on? Like, you're not gonna say Shamia doesn't know. You know what I mean?" So Shamia, she was like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call a house meeting." And she sat there and she asked K Michelle, and did I know specifics? No, you didn't know about this. And did I know about this? No, you didn't know about this. Like, you told me that somebody did it, but you didn't say who it was. That is correct. That's what K Michelle should have did before. Like, look, I told them about the situation, but I didn't tell them specifics. And don't be coming for them because this ain't got nothing to do with them. This got something to do with somebody else. Don't have nothing to do with Kelly and Shamia, but it got something to do with somebody else. Which is even childish in itself. But so they're, just sitting there talking about it. Shamia got them clappers out. Okay? That ass sit up better than two bunk beds. Oh, she thick. She eat her cornbread. Shamia got them damn clappers out. Everybody just looking at her like, girl, you really want to show off that damn BBL. And I'm glad she did. Because I'm over here salivating. But she just looked really good. But so after Shamia kind of like says what she has to say, K Michelle, she's like, you know what? And Drew, I black. So K Michelle, she just basically brings up black again, and I'm like, I don't understand why we're bringing up black. Like, why are we at this whole black situation? So K Michelle, she's like, I don't know. I don't even know. Why are we bringing up black again? They start arguing. They start popping off at the mouth. K Michelle's like, girl, you not a singer. Your acting career is non-existent. This ain't TLC. I couldn't hear what Drew was saying because there was a lot of commotion going on. But K Michelle is bucking up at Drew. She bucking up, but she ain't standing up. Drew done fully stood up, and she bucking up. But it don't look like neither one of them was gonna do nothing. They she ain't gonna do none. She ain't gonna do none. Okay, in the words of Erica Mama. I forget what her name is. Erica Dixon. But the girl that you don't like, K Michelle, was actually pulling you down so you can get so you can get kicked out that show like she did. But I don't even know why Portia was doing that. Girl, you a real fighter. You a fighter's fighter, okay, on Bravo. So you know when a girl ready to do something. But K Michelle, she was cracking off with like a lot of jokes and stuff. So I don't think that she was serious or anything. But Drew, she goes upstairs. She's talking to Black, and she's like, "Did I know about the DMs? Did I didn't know about the DMs, baby Black, cause he in the phone." She's like, "I didn't know." She wasn't crying, but she was pissed off. She's like, "Girl, I didn't know about the fucking DMs. I didn't know about the DMs. So like, I don't understand why." is such an issue with her. So, K Michelle, we go back to K Michelle, and K Michelle is just like, she's just sitting there. Portia, she's saying, I want to know why you feel like people plotting on you. Like, do you feel like I'm plotting on you? Who do you feel like is plotting on you? Like, can you just point to somebody? Can you tell who the root issue is? And Shami is like, I feel like they feel like they had a meeting, and Portia's enemies are their enemies, and everybody's a go naked model. And I will say, like, from the way that they were talking, they went upstairs and they talked, but I feel like it was more than that. I feel like it was more than that. So again, Angela, she's getting on Shamia and she's like, "Stop with the faces, bitch." And I just don't understand. Like, I feel like Angela's issue with Shamia is nothing. I hope you're ready for nothing. But she don't have an issue with Shamia. She does not have an issue with her. Angela decides to go back and forth with her and basically just say, like, you keep saying that the demise of your friendship with Portia is my fault, and I want you to say that it's not my fault. Angela, it is your fault. It is your fault. It is your fault. And every time that you get a chance to bring up her issues with Portia, you press that chance. You and Drew, like y'all do over and over again. So but the demise of their friendship is not completely her fault, but she did have a really big hand to do with it. You know what happened last year. So Cynthia's just like, I'm so done with this. Like, they just arguing back and forth. Shamia gets up and she showed them big ass clappers. Um what's her name? Angela, she get up and she show her Latoya nose. Cynthia's in the middle shaking a damn can of coins like, hey, 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 somebody help me pay out my mortgage. I mean, hold on. I need y'all to stop. We gotta go to this gala. So, they get up eventually. They go to the gala. Everybody's getting ready. Then we see Cynthia. She's downstairs getting, in between getting ready. And she comes and greets JC, who is one of the people that works for the tequila line. And then also, JC brings Joe Pacetti. And he is iced out with a Birkin bag. And he is bringing, like, all kinds of jewelry, like diamonds, like really a lot of money. They all look really nice. I will say that they definitely was giving Dynasty. I will say that I noticed that they gave Shamia only $98,000 worth of jewelry, which is a lot of money. It's nothing to, fret at. But everybody else got like over 100,000. And I wonder why the girl with the most money got the least expensive jewelry. Probably because her own jewelry costs, more. And then Phaedra, she was like flirting with the guy. She was like, "Oh, are you married?" And he was like, "No, nobody wants to marry me." He's like, "Oh, well, I'm single or whatever." You know, um, she's like, "Oh, I'm dating and I'm very single." And I'm like, "We know you are very single." Honestly, I don't even think that Phaedra wants to date, which is her, choice, is her prerogative. But I don't think that Phaedra wants to date. I think that Phaedra, I don't know. There's something about her that's a little bit off to me. There's something off with that nut. So anyway, so Phaedra, not Phaedra, Cynthia, she goes upstairs, and then we find out that, what's her name? What's that girl name? Portia. She's wearing the same exact dress that she wore for one of the reunions, and it was the dress that she wore when she was pregnant with Pilar. And I was like, "This is really cute." She obviously got to resize, but I've noticed that with Portia lately, like she's wearing a lot of the same clothes that she's already worn, which I just think is like really cool and really cute. Because they look good. You can always get them resized and stuff. But anyway, so Cynthia goes into the room to go talk to Drew and to see like kind of where she's at. Drew is still getting ready. Everybody else has their clothes on. They got their jewelry on. Drew is just now getting her makeup done. She just getting her eyeshadow done. She ain't even got nothing else on. She got under eye patches on. I feel like that's so disrespectful. Like, girl, get a move on. I know that they said that her and Portia do share a stylist or like makeup artist or whatever, but I'm like, girl, you got to get a move on. Like, that's so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful. But she's Drew says that she has a headache, and I'm like, girl, you don't have a headache. You have a fake ache. You have a I'm scared of these bitches with my ass ache. You have a ass ache, but you don't have a headache. So, anyways, she just says like, look, I'll get ready and I'll meet you guys there. So, the girls get into the car. It's raining. You know, people don't realize this, but Dallas is actually really, really rainy. Even in the summertime, you'll have like 110-degree weather, and then it'll just rain for like the whole weekend, and then it'll be sunny, burning out. Heat stroke conditions. So the girls, they get into the Sprinter van. They get a full police escort over to the Sprinter van. I mean, over to the event. And Cynthia, she gets in a call, and it's JC, the person who's like helping plan the event, and Anita, the person whose house the event has been planned in. And when I tell you, JC was crying, oh, oh, Cynthia, oh, I feel so bad, oh, because there was a damn hurricane. It's raining cats and dogs. It's just so much going on. And this man is upset, and I understand being upset because you want to do a good job. This is on TV. Like, you don't want to look like you don't incompetent and stuff like that. You can't control the rain. You can't control the rain. It's understandable. It is what it is. So Cynthia's like, look, I am upset, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. The girls, they get there, and honestly, it was an hour later. The girls, they get there, and they look really, really good. The event, they moved in inside. It looks nice. The drinks is flowing. Them bitches is drunk. It looks fun. Like, they call it a gala, but it's really just a party. You know what I mean? Like, it's a party for a show. I don't know why they always say like a gala. Is it a gala because it's more than 50 people and y'all have on ballroom dresses? Is that a gala? The way that they was hanging out, it was definitely giving a party, which is fine. I don't understand why it's like, yeah, we having a party we have an event. I would call it an event, but a gala to me is like really upscale. It's in somebody's museum, or it's like a really big function, and funds is being raised. But so um K Michelle, her husband, he gets there. They greet each other because they didn't meet them at the house. They met them at the event. And she's just like, oh, I just want to stay out of anything. Portia and her fake boyfriend, her rental man, is there. And she's like, oh, well, I told him that I was going to this event, to this gala. And he was like, you're not going by yourself. So he had to come out. Girl, you slid that man $5,000, okay, for that job, and he came over there, and you also paid for that damn rose. So he gave her like his gold encrusted or gold dipped rose or whatever. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the fake men. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of y'all lying. Be honest and tell the truth. Tell the truth and shame the devil. When I tell you, it almost seems like Portia goes on to ChatGPT and has them write out her script for him. I don't like it. I don't. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. And then even like he gives her like a kiss on the cheek, I believe, because she didn't pay for the premium package to get a smooch on the mouth. Anyways, so then we see Pinky get her man, and when I tell you this man is diabolical, and they're gonna be getting a divorce. When Pinky drove down to that courthouse, when he drove her down to that courthouse, and or allegedly, but when he drove her down to that courthouse, and he told her not to get out because they was gonna work on it, and they just been okay ever since. They've been working on it. Girl, you should have got your ass out of that car. If I were you, I would have took my heel off and I would have broke the damn window. I would have gotten out of that car that day. You should have got a divorce. First, this man talking about some, he tried to humble you. You tried to humble me. You tried to humble me. I'm Pinky Cole. We got some sluts in the building. I'm Pinky Cole. Who are you humbling, babes? You a fine man, fine nigga. But like, you're not finna humble me. What are you talking about? And then when we in this event, he's talking about some like, oh, she's like, oh, you look really nice. Like, you look really good. And he's like, yeah, everybody been telling me that, or people been saying I look good. Hold on. Even Portia fake man, even if it wasn't a ChatGPT script, and K Michelle man said, "Oh, you look beautiful. You look nice." Girl, you can't even say that to your wife, to the woman that you got 3 kids with, that you shot, I think 4 or 3 kids. Girl, what are you? When I catch you, Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky, when I catch you, is gonna be held to the captain. Now he is a fine man, and that can never be denied. But he whack as hell. He really is whack. And I see why y'all married, cause your wife is whack too. I like Pinky, and I feel bad for my sister, cause she was tired and drunk and had throw up and shit all over her. I don't know if she nose was snotty, but y'all six of one, half a dozen of the other. Y'all the same exact person. And I see why she didn't take that money. I see why she didn't take that $5 million, and she didn't want to tell him about the bankruptcy. I knew that there was a problem in their marriage then. I'm gonna leave that there. Anyways, so the party starts. Everybody is having fun. The party looked like it was really fun. The event. I would have wanted to go. Okay, I got a little. I mean, I ain't got no ball. Well, actually, I do have a ball gown. Wore it to the Carnival Cruise. I wore it to the Carnival Cruise. Okay, and I think it would have fit this theme. I would just have to tease my hair up. But I actually really like, this party, this event. Like, it looked like everybody had fun. Cynthia did do like the little beauty queen thing where she was like, oh, everybody had did like their little walk down the stairs. It was fun. Phaedra, old raunchy, ratchet ass, she bouncing it up and down and doing all that. I'm like, girl, okay. So, this is like, Paige, what are we doing? What are we doing? And you can be 60 years old twerking and stuff. That's not the problem. It's Phaedra that's the problem. It doesn't feel real. You know what I mean? I don't know. I also hated Shamia. I hated what's her name? I hated the thing that Kelly had. I mean, not Kelly. K Michelle had on her own arm, and I also hated Angela's hair. Angela looked like Latoya Jackson dressed up as Mary J. Blige for Halloween. You know what I mean? So I got a question for ya. Hee hee. But what's her name? Cynthia. She does like a little thing where she's like giving out the what do you call it, like the little sash and a helmet thing, and she's like, oh, we're gonna give it to everybody. Then I just feel like she did that on the spot because she kind of felt childish a little bit. Why would you even do that? You know what I mean? Like, if you had that, then why don't you just have one for every single person? They were fighting over it and they ended up breaking it, and yeah, they broke it, but it only cost like, girl, they said $20. Girl, that probably cost like $10 because I've seen a couple of those when I go to Dollar Tree, so probably $1.25. But then we flash over to what is it called? Drew getting ready, and Drew actually did look really good. I liked her outfit; she looked amazing. But it keeps flashing between Drew basically just barely leaving the house, and then the girls having a ball. Like, they look like they had so much fun. They're taking their pictures. They got the tequila. They look like they had so much fun. And then as they're walking out, here comes Drew. Here comes trouble. And Drew, they're like, "Oh, hey, girl," and she's like, "Oh, are y'all really, like, are y'all actually leaving?" "Yeah, we leaving." "Girl, we've been here for 2 hours and we already showed up late." "Yes, we're leaving." Like, yes, we're leaving. Drew annoyed me with that. Also, what annoyed me in that scene was Pinky's outfit. I hated that brown outfit. I hated it. It was mostly like the pants, but I hated that. So they all start to leave, and it was just like it seemed like it was a good time. It was a good event. While they're on the bus, they're all like really thanking Cynthia. I will, if I had to give this trip something, I would say for drama, I would give it probably like a 8.5. For like the actual trip, I would probably rate it lower, maybe like a 6.5, like a 7, only because they were in a really nice house, they were in a really nice estate, but the room wasn't clean, and then like the activities that they were only there for 3 days, but the activity that they did was like kind of trash. They did should have did something glamorous and all that kind of stuff. Um, but overall, like these 2 or 3 episodes that they spent on this, I liked them. I genuinely did. Um, but Cynthia, they giving her tens and stuff, and Cynthia's like, well, because they're like, oh yeah, well this is held to a new standard. She's like, well, somebody else is gonna have to try and top that because it will not be me. I am not hosting none of you bitches ever again, and I definitely understand that. They were very ungrateful. They were very rude, very nasty, and I wouldn't host them either. But that was pretty much the end of the episode. they were like just kind of flashing about the everything that happened, but I do like that. I wish that they would have gave us like a little sneak peek of what will come next episode. You know, they do that thing where they put like 3 minutes of the episode out, and I don't like that. I want to be surprised. Just show me the previews, you know. But I like this episode. I really did. I really did. K Michelle. At this point, at the end of this episode, you can go. Drew can be not Drew can be demoted. She can be demoted. Um, we don't believe in that deportation stuff around here. And then Phaedra, you could be demoted. You could be demoted. Who else? Who else is there? And I think that's pretty much it. I'm enjoying all the girls, but I do think that there needs to be like a cash shakeup. You know, they need to bring in somebody that's coming in hot. They need to bring in another Angela. But this has really been, or this has really been, this has been, it's Deja. And let me know what y'all think about the episode in the comments. All right, bye y'all.